All right, folks, we are live. Hello, welcome to the virtual Cobalt Cafe. My name is Rick Lupert. Glad to have you here with us for week number 253 of our virtual series. It's going to be a good one tonight. In addition to our open reading, we have from somewhere in Illinois, which is basically what he says in his bio, just out of an abundance of caution, I'm sure. Because I know I'd head over there immediately if I knew exactly where, John. Is our featured reader, John Dorroh. John, really glad that you're here with us tonight. Looking forward to hearing a full set of poems for you. It's going to be great. Before we get to John, we're going to have some of our open reading. And the way that typically works, in case you didn't know, is you let me know that you'd like to read, and that's it. You're in. I'll be happy to add you to the list. You get to read up to 2 poems. That is our maximum amount of poems that you get to read at the Cobalt Poets open reading. And as always, our suggested time limit is less is more. We also, of course, as always, have a 1-drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe, so make sure that you honor that by having a beverage of some kind to help. I don't know what it helps. Probably just helps you, honestly. I'm just trying to help you. That's what the purpose of the 1-drink minimum is. Finally, make sure that you have the chat room open. The chat room, since, as we mentioned earlier, everyone's muted for our super awesome abundance of cautiousness to prevent wrongdoers in our public space. The chat room is how you get to interact with each other. So make sure you have that open. It's a great place to react to the poems that you're hearing, to post links of things that you might be mentioning when it's your turn to read, as well as send each other discreet private messages declaring your love discreetly to other people, or whatever it is that you would like to do in the chat room. I believe that's it. That's everything I need to tell you. I should mention, by the way, before, so there's some time to prepare. Bill Gaines, you are going to be up first, thanks to the gods of the list randomizer website. But before we get to our first reader, Bill, I would like to ask if there are any questions. Martin Parker, yes.
Good evening, Rick. I was just wondering have you ever seen butterflies drinking from a puddle?
No. In fact, not only have I not seen them not drinking from a puddle, I've seen them refusing to drink from a puddle. It's just, the young ones especially have quite an attitude when they're brought to a puddle. Like, no, we're not drinking out of that. Forget it. I speak butterfly, so that's how I knew what they were saying. Other than that, they're a very nice species, and I'm quite fond of them.
Well, I must have seen some crazy butterflies a while back because they were drinking from a puddle.
Huh.
Apparently, they get minerals that they don't get from nectar that way. So,
well, what do you know? Well, thank the butterfly god for puddles, I guess, is what we're saying.
At least the ones that are smart, apparently. Maybe not all of them are.
Right. Well, thank you for that information, Martin, and that question. I thought I saw Cathabella's hand go up for a question. What can I...
If you've been in a canyon, what did it feel like?
I'm sorry, if I had what?
If you've been in any canyon.
Yes, I've been in many canyons, so many canyons. Most of my time I've spent in canyons when I'm not here in this room, which is really the only space that I exist in that isn't a canyon, as a matter of fact. I had the canyon walls removed from here just because it was echoing too much. It was a lot of money, but it felt worth it. I've been in Topanga Canyon. I live right off of Wiley Canyon, as a matter of fact. It feels really good driving on that street. I once went to the Grand Canyon and wasn't per se in it, but was at the top of it, but got a sense of, I could just go in it, and then that would be a pretty amazing experience. So, Cathabella, I could go on about canyons forever, but there's only so much time.
Right. Thank you, Rick.
Sure, no problem. Thank you. Anyone else have a question before we get going? I see no other questions, so I guess we're just gonna get going. Our second reader, our on deck person is Denise Dumars. Please welcome our first reader, Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello, thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. I am thrilled to be the warm-up act. Let's get into it. This poem, this is the first one. It is called Throw Down the Water Hammer. Excuse me. Beat all the human duct tape you can. It's not enough to fix the ship. Might as well enjoy the view, burn with shame along the way. That level of petty cannot be taught. Throw down the water hammer on your turn. Deliver the goods with a final word. Let the meager rewards of quiet prudence fill your socks with feet and point the way for better days. That's end of one. Up next is called Crimson Monster. A coffee shop Jesus, walking tall, walking straight, with his human eyes on the human doorway, steps out into the loving morning sun, crosses the street, walks a few blocks down the road. Just like that, he's gone. Don't worry, earthlings. Don't be afraid. We expect to be moving shortly. A gentle rocking has lulled me to sleep, and a less gentle rocking has reawakened me, only I'm different. I'm a five-headed crimson monster now. I smash cherry blossom trees into pancakes, and I smash pancakes into stars. And oh.
I have to tell you, whenever I hear the phrase "Don't worry, Earthlings," I'm immediately worried. It feels like that's a deceptive message that is immediately going to lead to me being consumed and possibly a lot of other destruction.
I think it's a learned reaction from personal experience.
It could be. A lot has happened to me when I was inside canyons that I really don't want to talk about. So that's probably what it was. Bill, thank you so much for opening up the reading. Very much appreciate the bravery of going first. Not that you had a choice, but my God, you did it anyway. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Bill Gaines. Yeah, thank you. On deck, Sean Mahoney. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hi. Well, here I am once again writing poems about gods and monsters that no one else has ever heard about. This one is called Veles Walks Among Us. Veles is a Slavic deity. He's kind of an underground type creature, and he sometimes appears as a werewolf or sometimes as a bull or a bull elk and various other things. So this is called Veles Walks Among Us. And I wrote this because there was a call for poems about mythology and music. So music is one of his things. In the dark elk velvet song, birds warble in minor chords. Bees tip honey from their combs into his beastly mouth, ever hungering and singing, singing until moonglow in the nighttime. Notes erupt into the power of time, move with the deep reeds of savage luster, rank animal ways. Paws of wolf and bear make drumbeats deep and raw. The horned man-bodied wolf steps in rhythmic time. The silver-clawed bear stalks in sylvan circles around the fern-glade piper. Deeper in the forest, padding evergreen needles down, down, down into the realm of Veles, who walks above with silver ermine and white-winged fox, both source and sorcerer, Fujara and balalaika, throat singing to the bagpipes in lacquered past, yet here today. This one I just managed to sell to an online magazine called Eternal Haunted Summer, which is one of my favorite online magazines. It's another one with mythology, and I was kind of inspired by the Irish dancing by vampires in the movie Sinners, which is a great movie. So it starts with a quote from the song. The song is The Rocky Road to Dublin. It's a traditional song by D.K. Gavin. Poem is called Who the Lovely Flute. The quote is, cut a stout black thorn to banish ghosts and goblins. And there's a couple of Gaelic names in here that I will pronounce incorrectly. Steal the harp and strip our magic. Tell us that the flute is a measly thing, an instrument of poverty. Pull up our crops and plant the foreign field. Who the lonely flute calls, cries in the night, over the seas and into the dark mix of rough and tumbled lies. No ein Macmina to put us all to sleep with songs of curses or the devil's pipes, or quaint folk fun as we raise our shields against eyes somnolent stealing of our souls. And when I swing my shillelagh like the proper crone I am, the human ghosts and goblins only laugh and call it a mobility device. But it's a wizard's wand, a druid's device. And can you hear the drums? We're still here, still here. Thank you.
We are indeed. Denise, well done. Appreciate the genre aspect of your work, which I've been paying more attention to since I made that realization. I'm secretly watching you like various Doctor Who posts as well. A lot to talk about in that world this week, but we won't get into it here in this space. Yeah, and congrats on selling a poem. That's a big deal. A lot of it's smart to think about offering a poem to a market that doesn't typically sell poetry or publish poetry, and you might have a better chance of getting something placed or people interested in it because of the unique aspect of that. So well done there. That's a lesson for all of us to think about. Round of applause for Denise Dumars. Thank you, Denise, for being here. On deck, Cathabella, Jackie, and Siggy. Please welcome now Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Hi, Rick. How are you? That's it? So, okay, gestures aside, I would have been here sooner, but I got lost following a moose. I ended up somewhere up in Canada, I believe. I never caught the damn thing. But those tracks are just so unmistakable, and they're kind of addictive to follow them, you know? Yeah. Anyway, I have one piece tonight, and I wrote it a couple of weeks ago. This is the first time it's been read aloud or for anybody else, and it's another accident poem. And this should be the final one, unless I get some sort of landfall financial settlement, in which case I'll write about money the next time. This is called a thank you note for the rear ending. Thank you for gifting me more life, more time. Thank you for allowing me another day of contests and challenges, for another garden, for the opportunity to clean dog poop on a Wednesday afternoon, 5 days after the accident. Ecstatic me living for another day of bills and groceries, water-based dishes, water evaporating as millions of momentary diamonds in the sky, millions upon hundreds of altruistic pursuits, gun down in the streets. Oddly enough, I am the get hit dude. I cannot trust you anymore, not with my life or those close to me, not my money or my secret stash of square watermelons and five-toed sloth. Nothing of you, by you, or from you can clean and rinse me. Water, you cannot be trusted to safeguard water. Life, or repair roads and bridges. That reads awkwardly. You cannot be trusted to safeguard water, life, or repair roads and bridges. Did Jesus get rear-ended too? Does this warping of metal and minds reduce me to the least among us? Does any body part on his holiness require urgent care or brace? Hope for sanity and cleaner energies? Yes, the sensation of metal crumpling and the oomph of my body thrust into fabricated plastics and metal alloys seems like an oil can pump oozing into nostrils. Uncomfortable, sad nothings. Yes, the sound echoes. I hear impact, feel bumps, and embrace a world in need of repair. I'm thankful for no flying glass, no nails, and no agony screams. Accidental noise, lowest of low. My brain is obviously dulled when I recollect a distracted man, a dip in the road, and my acupuncture delayed. Thank you, Haydn, for Symphony Number 93 in D major. Light and somber, featured brass like a crash between cultures, clash of a pastoral afternoon and a vaguely defined personal outline of a man in the depths of Job-like despair begging a question. What the hell did I do? End piece.
Great poem, Sean. I'm kind of hoping as well that it will be your last accident poem, and your next poem will be about a safe trip that you took to and from the market or something, in which nothing happens.
Or
something
perhaps the next poem is me finding the moose at the grocery store.
God, I hope so. I'm
Shopping, no
what would you
less.
say
Not
your
chopped up into nice little steaks, but they're shopping to make it more
Great.
David Lynch-like.
What would you say your moose alert level is at this point?
Oh, I think it's only a 2 or 3 at this point. I think it's very far away right now.
Okay.
But
Well,
I
keep us
can't guarantee
up to
that.
date. Yeah. That's what ChatGPT wanted me to ask everyone in promoting this event, the book that's coming out. Just keep asking people what their moose alert level is. So you're the first I've got to try that out on. I enjoyed your live editing in the poem, and it actually was a great example, I think, of what I've been telling people for years, which is that you should really read your poems out loud, because you learn them better, and you get to hear how
Agreed.
they sound. And if something doesn't, if you trip over something, imagine what's gonna happen when someone else receives it. And it's also nice when you do it in front of a live audience that you can hear, because you get their reactions. So if they laugh at something that you meant to be funny, then that was a success, and etc. So thank you for that glimpse into your thought process when you got to that section of that poem.
Poppycock, dude, move on to the next reader.
Yes, I will do that. Round of applause for Sean Mahoney. Thank you, Sean. On deck, we've got 2 more readers, and then our featured reader, John Dorroh. Jeff Betker, you're on deck. Please welcome now the collab Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie. Welcome.
Okay, hello everyone. We have something that you will hear. It says it's not turned on for some reason. I'll try it again. No. Okay, we've got it now. All right, here we are. Make this a little bigger. So we're going in a canyon. There's a glimpse of it. It's a slot canyon. And this was not our trip, but our dear friend Sharon Hawley is in Utah. I think it's called Antelope Canyon. And that's where she's been, exploring this slot canyon as one of the highlights. And she took these pictures, and she says these pictures are true to color, and it's just the way it looks there, which is amazing. Okay, Siggy.
The earth moved. Close, missed encounter, sun's hint of blood.
Isn't that amazing? This is a slot canyon. Jackie.
Crimson glow, the right touch of sun on the canyon and me.
Water softened soil, rolled with the force and flow. Natives dream of satin.
I love the satin. Sculpted by water. The ruffles in the canyon flow faster.
Overlapping, crimson and purple, the fabric of canyons.
Wearing something different on our hike to the canyon, her blush.
Fisher twins drifting apart or closer, mirrored silhouettes.
Nice, Ziggy.
Thank you, Jackie. That's an amazing one. My dream of flying up and down canyon walls, folds in my dress.
Squeezing through the narrowing space between canyon walls.
Stair steps, path frequency created, giants walked here.
I love that. Giants walked
Look at those colors.
Look at those folds. My goodness. Horseshoe Bend. A giant horse puts his foot in the river.
The circular path going with the flow. Horseshoe Bend.
Thanking the stone. His chanting to the slot canyon.
The heart shape a hole takes on. Canyon walls.
Turning the corner. Bottom of the canyon. An antelope. Dark rock shadows, night waves in the canyon. Sunlight woven into my braids, last night's dream.
Thank you. That was just brilliant.
Yes.
I love those photos.
Oh, yes, so beautiful. I'm just going through them to the top now. There we are. Okay. And here's Rick.
Thank you guys very much. Lovely imagery to go along with your words tonight. Perhaps we'll just end this now and head off into some beautiful canyons and enjoy ourselves. Rick, anything you'd like to tell us about what you're playing?
It before. It's a Japanese shakuhachi. It's traditional flute. This one's about 200 years old. And it's broken and been fixed. See all the bandages.
Wow.
Wow.
Very common.
Well, cool. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Cathabella. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Siggy. Cool to hear and see what you were up to this week. Round of applause for the collab, everyone. We've got one more poet and then our featured reader, John Dorroh. So, John, you are on deck. Please welcome now Jeff Betker. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, collab. That was awesome. I haven't seen photos of that before. It was amazing. I've been gone for quite a while. I've started a community magazine, which has turned out to be really a lot of fun. This last week, I went and interviewed a horse therapy center. They put autistic children and children with cerebral palsy on the backs of horses, and it's magic. It's magic. So I wrote a poem about that. My friend Stardust. My name is Clarice. I am 9. I have a special friend. He's not a person. He's an equine. He lives at my house, I like to pretend. He is brown and tall. His name is Stardust. I pet him. He knows what I'm thinking. It took time for us to build our trust. He is patient when we are walking. They say I am on the spectrum. I don't know what that means. I think I just have a different rhythm. Stardust doesn't care, it seems. Miss Jacqueline and Miss Faride and all the staff and volunteers teach me to balance and to ride. Why is my mother in tears? To begin, I learned to write forwards, never slouching, always sitting up straight. Now I can even write backwards. Stardust thinks I'm doing great. Serenity is the name of this fun place. I'm lucky to come here twice a week. They say I have more smiles on my face. Everybody is happy when I speak. Miss Liz said she is proud of me today. Can I feed Stardust some hay? Thank you. That's all for tonight.
Cool, Jeff. Nice to see you again. It's been a little bit. I'm glad to have you back. What's this community magazine you're working on?
So it's called the Town Local Bonita. Bonita is a small community right between Chula Vista and San Diego, and it's famous for being originally designed as a horse community. So there's a lot of places where you can go riding, and they've developed, or when they segmented the lots, there's enough spaces for corrals and whatnot. And one group is they teach jumping, and this particular group does the horse therapy, and it's amazing to see. I got to talk to a lot of parents, and just one father was telling me his son's always been in a wheelchair, so he's never had a chance to build up his hip muscles. And so just riding on the horse, learning that posture has helped him to be able to take a few steps on his own. So great stuff. Thank you all.
That's great, Jeff. Sounds like you're doing really good stuff out there. Glad they have you doing that. Glad you're back with us here tonight. Don't be a stranger. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Round of applause for Jeff Betker. All right. On deck after our featured reader will be Martin Parker, which leads us now to our featured reader, John Dorroh. John is someone who I've known on the internet almost exclusively for quite some time as a participant in Poetry Superhighway things. I was just checking on the Poetry Superhighway website and saw that I think it's at least 6 times over the last bunch of years that I've published John Dorroh, and I'll only publish a poet once a year maximum, so that that means that this has been going on for quite a number of years. He's been a contest sponsor. He sent poetry writing prompts to Poetry Superhighway. It occurred to me recently as I'm filling up the roster of future featured poets here at Cobalt Poets that I often don't commingle the two projects, Poetry Superhighway and Cobalt Poets, but there's a whole treasure trove of people there who are very active there, who've been publishing for a long time, who are really stunning and amazing poets, who I could draw from for this space, who we'd all benefit from hearing, and they'd benefit from learning that we exist. So John Dorroh is one of those folks, and I'm really glad that he is here tonight. A few tidbits from John's bio. John Dorroh travels as often as possible, which, as you know, makes him one of my people. I love travel almost more than anything. He inevitably ends up in other people's kitchens, exchanging culinary tidbits and telling tall tales. He once baked bread with Austrian monks and drank a healthy portion of their beer. That sounds amazing, John. Let me know how I can get in on some of that. He's been nominated a number of times for Best of the Net, and he's had poems appear in a lot of other cool places. He's got a couple of chapbooks out, I think both on Alien Buddha Press, both which came out in 2022. I'm going to post a link to one of them in a little bit. And he comes from somewhere in Illinois, narrowing it down a little bit near St. Louis. His camera isn't working right now, but I'm kind of hoping that we can hear your voice, John. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Cool.
All right, fantastic.
I'm not very pretty anyway, so we'll just make it a magical experience and just close your eyes, have a drink, relax, and we'll see what happens. But at least the audio portion is working. Thank you, Rick, for such a nice introduction. Tonight I'll be reading from 3 areas. One is from a new chapbook manuscript about maps. And then another one, I keep coming back to composting and repurposing. So I have 2 poems from that. And then the remaining time will be some new stuff that's a hodgepodge of topics. Okay. The first poem's called Cartographer's Lament. While other kids were playing football, I was drawing outlines of South America. I fell in love with the concept of scale. Chile was my favorite. Its skinny profile made me pee each time I drew it in place. Later, I added capitals and a legend for elevations. I once squeezed France into a tight wad and unraveled it in Italy. It didn't fit, so I sent it back to its proper place. Spain was jealous, so I gave it a longer coastline. Portugal didn't seem to care one way or another. I figured it was full of port. I loved messing around with the Matterhorn, indicating its existence with a big plus, which I felt didn't justify its majesty. I'll go there one day, I told myself, and see it with my own eyes. Rent a chalet on a small lake, sit on the porch with some wine and cheese, take it all in, watch a glacier melt. I honed my cartographic skills so well that I expanded my horizons into most of the other continents. Antarctica was never a challenge, nothing there but blue ice and sorrow. My father insisted that I play football to keep me socially grounded. The kids were shocked that I could kick a football so high into the air that angels intercepted it and ran it all the way to the line of scrimmage, which, by the crudest of estimations, lies somewhere between Bogota and Rio de Janeiro. Okay. The second one, The Cartographer's Lament, Part 2. You know how I feel about maps. And I forgot to tell you that the maps idea came from a trip. A friend and I last summer took a road trip to visit 3 of the Great Lakes, and we were heading south on the east shore of Lake Michigan, and our GPS led us to an abandoned construction site. Both of our phones died. Well, not to panic, I remembered I had paper maps of several states in the trunk of my car. I carefully unfolded Michigan, located our position, and said, let's see if we can find our way back to our hotel using the paper map. And then this big ferocious gust of wind lifted the map off the hood of the car, and it flew away like an elegant bird. This led to a series of poems, which you are now hearing. I pity the young people who've never touched a paper map or unfolded one on the hood of a car to let the folds catch drafts of wind to carry it up into the sky, to let it fly like a condor over the Andes. The information they've never seen sitting in front of them, begging to be examined and understood. The major highways into Denver and the state roads along Lake Michigan's east shore, the dangerous slopes of sand dunes, national parks boldly labeled, and map scales that help you imagine how small you really are. I feel sorry for the parents who never touched a paper map or unfolded one on the hood of a car to catch a breath of breeze that lifts it up into the sky like a swallowtail searching for nectar. To condense a population of 2.5 million and house them in a 1 centimeter square, colored a light shade of tan to indicate density, to abbreviate the complexity of economic prowess with dots and dashes, interstates colored red like veins, to convey altitude with squiggly concentric circles. These are brilliant vehicles to share with a child who may be able to tell her grandmother when to turn and in what direction, but who has never had the thrill of watching a paper canary fly out of her palm into a desert sunset. Okay? And if you've ever tried to fold those paper maps back into their proper position, it's Not easy. And the next poem. The imperfect nature of design, neglected places that maps don't show. Discrete places and deep juiced furrows almost never make it into archive places, as if their existence never mattered. That marine vents and trenches get noted in National Geographic arc sections, microorganisms that survive on heat, that thrive on heat and gaseous sulfur at 35,000 feet under the surface of the sea, subvarieties of species that you and I will never see in a lab, gigantic squid and cousins of squid pulsing through frigid waters unhurriedly, their cartilaginous bodies having adapted to immense pressure, their indigo ink serving no purpose whatsoever. Those two become extinct over time, replaced by other mapless creatures that defy classification. The sunken cheeks of 100-year-old Egyptian grandmothers, their brown temples creased with time, weathered by routine, and supplanted by younger bodies with ample amounts of energy, but with less wit and wisdom. They never yell over the mountain range that their place deserves a papered prominence on Rand McNally's Hall of Fame. Maps fail to tell the whole story. Invisible cracks and fissures on the floor of the Mojave Desert, surrounded by cholla cacti, their pink and white blooms, rattlesnakes and desert tortoises, scrubby hares whose ferocious paws pounce over the subterranean funnels, propelling sand, dirt, and debris into dark holes, blocking passage for desert ants, jumping spiders, and curious crustaceans that seek refuge from daytime heat, preventing safe escape after torrential washouts and pre-fall weather. Mapless features deserve respect, perhaps for no other reason than for having escaped the onslaught of human intervention, the eventual buy-in and demise of things that once weren't seen. Okay, thank you. Now let's go to do a little bit of composting. I'm a compost freak. That's not the title, but I am a compost freak. Grandpa's compost pile, Alpha and Omega. It began years ago in Grandpa's playpen and lab, dead grass and spent corn cobs, coffee grounds, and arguments. I heard tales what should and could not work down there. Worms, like cooked spaghetti strands, offered their magic free of charge. No bones and fat and putrid dairy. Corn cobs take forever. The glow was there that night, emitting heat, something nuclear, unclear for me how it worked and why it possessed such pull. His theory was that one needs a partner to appreciate its power, that old miserly recluses miss it altogether, using it as pillows for their dirty sleep. The ground accepts the power, endorses it wholeheartedly, ferociously begging the masses to submit to the biology of life, its cycling and recycling, and natural supremacy for genetic stability. It catches you off guard, redirects your attention to what is real, what is dangerous, like thieves in your house at night. Thermophilic organisms that no one sees, subcontracting with beetles and fruit flies, worshiping internal guts, the tepid infection of putrefaction, and things that rot in the night. It's how biology hugs dead bodies, glowing, warm things that Grandpa poked weakly with his filthy, rusted pitchfork. Can you tell I taught high school biology? And another repurposed poem, that which appears perfectly repurposed. The old bread knife with its stale teeth can't saw through a sweet roll, like so much danger to a big brown bear or a bad dream that knows how to punch a hole into your glib, lifeless soul. It was useless at the last 5 picnics. but someone keeps forgetting to sharpen it. This ancient tool is dull and ready for being repurposed. A gray metallic strip, the perfect width for patching the slit in the corner of the compost pile, the entrance/exit for werewolves that get inside at night, the ones who deceivingly wear garlic necklaces like professionals who know exactly what they're doing. They are smart, devious creatures, catching you off guard just when you think you're safe, like an indestructible virus that morphs from one form to another, adapting to new cues in the environment. I ordered a new knife, handcrafted in Germany in the Black Forest, where the big bad wolf, with his red breath, tricked a little girl into letting him take a peek inside her goodie basket, letting him punch a hole in a beautiful brown bread crust with one mahogany-colored claw, sharper than any one of the teeth on my new knife that cost me an arm and a leg. Rick, how are we doing with time?
I think you're doing okay. You got a couple more for us.
Okay, cool. And we'll just call this new batch. This one's called Decoupage. I want a studio as messy as bloody gauze, folds and crimps stained with the juice of persuasion, eyesore for perfectionists who never get it right. I want gore and paint on the walls, floors slick with perspiration and tears. If there's a stairwell, it should be rickety, like diseased skeleton, curved and arched in the wrong places. This is how art should be, haphazardly arranged, brought into the world with labor and blood, asking more questions than can be answered in multiple choice. And this one's called Plane Geometry, and it could be considered a map poem. Take a circle from a piece of paper and cut it anywhere along the line. Stretch it straight like magic all the way to India, to exotic places scattered along your path. Wish for it to have air holes for breathing underwater, lungs for wandering through a jelly jungle of serpents that kiss like rock stars, finding a heart that is never satisfied. Pick up the string that you dropped in Greece and pull it taut like clenched lips at a funeral. Take it to the topless beach. Buy it a cocktail of its choice. Try to pry apart its grip upon your wrist. There's so much more to circles and lines, strings that act like untethered cowboys. If I'm able to place my circle back onto the paper, I might be able to live without knowing the whole truth. Okay? I just took a prose poetry class with Jose Hernandez Diaz, and I really enjoyed it. And this is one of the weird poems that came out of it. Last branch, excuse me, last branch motor in somewhere in West Texas on a hot day in June. Paced my shadow to the desert floor while blowing hot air across the tops of tequila shot glasses. Squint when you look at the sun, the lizard monster that no one looks in the face until he's ready to go to bed, sinking slowly behind a twin set of purple mountains. The last hour is bearable. We gather at the pool for immersion and lemon somersaults. No one is allowed to drown here. The last one who did lost his body to the vultures, black and death-clad, feathers stirring motionless molecules too heavy to fly any farther than their weathered nest. His bones were bleached, snow white, in less than a year. The coroner wouldn't touch him. Another county's jurisdiction, he said. Let him be. I go under first, holding my nose like a kid. We wait for the silver buckets of light beer, their high-pitched clinging that sounds like my grandmother's wind chimes, the ones that tinkled by my bedroom window where the mama bear once brought her cubs for leftover berries. She knew better than to plant that close to the house, but she did it anyway. Cynthia, with the luxurious legs, hands me the first bottle. On the house, she says. I take a sip. Cynthia pushes my head under the water and blows me a kiss when I come up for air. Okay. Rick, this may be the last one because the other two I have are rather long, and we'll just do this one, if that's okay. There's something about a fried egg. Atop the Baracha tots at Sneaky Pete's, there she sits, draped all over creation like something royal, something velvet in my mouth. We share her, you from the north end of the table, me from the south, where fried eggs appear in local diners in droves, cooked yolks, bursting with flavor, packed with protein, oozing into cells like secrets from exotic lands. Set a fried egg on my belly, watch it throb like a heartbeat. You don't have to eat it. I get that. I would eat one off of yours without hesitation, like I did last summer in New Mexico. They like them in huevos rancheros, toad in the hole, and Buddha bowls, shakshuka and croque madame, on polenta and grits, and beside baked hams. They cost a little more these days, so tell your server exactly how you'd like them cooked. Decisions, decisions. What I'll swap for fried eggs on top of anything that you can fit into my mouth. Thank you.
Well, that was a hell of a line to end your set with, John. Sent us all reeling into a canyon of imagination on what that could possibly be. Wonderful set of poems. Really great to hear all of that stuff. I take issue with your comment that you're not pretty. You're a gorgeous man, John Dorroh, and
Well, thank you, Rick.
we are the poorer for not having been able to see you, but the richer from having been able to hear your words. I love the line. This wasn't part of a poem, so forgive me, but or maybe it was. I carefully unfolded Michigan. It's got to be. Just one of my favorite things I've heard spoken out loud recently. So well done there. As a map lover, digital, paper, otherwise, I just love staring at those things and figuring out where stuff is in relation to other stuff. I really dig all of that content.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about what it must mean to be a compost freak as well.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. John, really enjoyed all of that. Glad we got this to work. I'm going to paste some stuff in the chat and then also share the screen to show people, and hopefully you can see it too, the broadside I made for your poem that you actually read, The Cartographer's Lament. There it is. People can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website. Click on the link I pasted, in the chat. You can download this 11 by 17 print, look at it on your screen, print it out, whatever you'd like to do. Fold it up like it's Michigan, for God's sakes. Whatever you want to do. And I hope you'll consider compensating / tipping / purchasing one of these, John, for his reading. I put a PayPal ID, John's PayPal, in the chat. So if you feel like contributing to the virtual passing of the hat to thank John for his reading, that's how you would do that, via PayPal. There, another great way to tip a poet is by purchasing their book. I posted a link to John's most recent book, Personal Ad Poetry on Amazon. When I say most recent, I think it came out only a couple months after the previous one.
Yes.
So that's pretty quick. So you can find all of them there or on the Alien Buddha Press website. And that's a great way to tip a poet as well. John, it was really great to hear a full set of poems for you. Thank you so much for being here from wherever you are in Illinois.
Thank you, Rick. And it's in Highland, just 30 miles east of St. Louis.
Well, there you go. All right. Thanks so much. A round of applause for our featured reader, John Dorroh. Cool. All right. I'll mention that next week our featured reader will be the poet Preeti Vangani, a name I'm surely butchering because I've never heard it spoken out loud. Preeti is a poet whose work got sent to me as part of the Academy of American Poets Daily Poem a Day series, and it's something that you can subscribe to yourself and get a poem every morning if you would like. And lots of cool stuff comes through, and that sometimes I'll reach out to the people whose poems I get and see if they're willing to show up to Cobalt. So Preeti will be here with us next week. That leads us now to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have on the list in this order: Martin Parker, Richard Loringer, Christopher Bogart, Julian Matthews, Cheryl Lateef, Jeffrey Bryant, Jennifer Elise Wang, Valeria Lopez Robles, Carrie Cox, Dig Wayne, Trevor Watkin, and me. If I missed anyone, or if anyone else would like to be added to the list, please send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you. Just as a reminder of what I said at the beginning, it's 2 poems maximum, and less is more is the suggested time limit. So please keep that in mind. We're going to get onto it right now. Richard Loringer, you're on deck. Please welcome our next reader, Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick, and hello to everyone in the room. Great poetry so far. Looking forward to more. Got another poem here from Wayne Lee's Tuesday poetry practice, which I've really been enjoying writing poetry at. This one is from a prompt on wings from last week. This is called Acrostic Wings. Witness the wings as the monarchs return, her crossword patterns filling my mind. I answer queries on wayward words. She flutters her fingers cross keys as they fly past eyes on the screen. The letters go by, except the ones now sequestered away, resting in boxes of memories we've shared, still echoing through chaos of latter days. And after someone suggested the title acrostic, I switched things up a little bit so the first letters of each line spell out the word whispers. And then something we often do at the end, if there's time, is just write a haiku, possibly about the same subject. So I wrote this. Regal patterned wings flutter around small puddles, reflecting blue skies. Regal patterned wings flutter around small puddles, reflecting blue skies. And thank you very much, everyone.
Martin, thank you very much. Glad to see where we were going with that whole butterfly and puddles situation. It rained here today, so I'm hoping a lot of butterflies just show up. You know what I'm saying?
Very cool.
Martin, thank you so much for being here. As always, round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck, Christopher Bogart. Please welcome now Richard Loringer. Hello, Richard.
Hello, and I hear the butterflies bring their own straws. Okay, so I have just one piece, but I'd like to share something visual for a moment. And because, if I may, and where is that? There it is. So a year ago on June 1st, out of frustration, I took down my like video media center and refused to let myself use video streaming gaming for a year. And I did a podcast to talk about what happened to me. And while I did that, so I just finished it. It was a 12-month podcast. That was the these are just some of the logos. Boy, they're not really looking very good. Are they blurry to you guys? I think they are. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I had 33 episodes. Oh wait, I'll show you that one picture is of me as a 3-year-old as a 3-year-old, which was the day that Kennedy was assassinated. Now you know my age. And yeah. And there's the last one. So that's all. I'm going to read you a short selection from this last one. Maybe you'll actually get some darn poems from me at some point now that I have time to write anything. Okay, this is just a little narrative from the last one. I put in the chat, like where you can find the podcast if you have any interest. And I also put a full like recap about what it was all about on my website this month. So it doesn't matter that much. But here we are. In 1987, I was on a solo road trip from the Midwest to San Francisco. If you've ever driven across the Great Plains, you traveling people, you'll understand what I mean when I say that one bleary middle of the night, after driving approximately 2 billion miles across Nebraska, I swerved desperately off I-80 into the parking lot of what I hoped wasn't a neon mirage called Castle's Family Pancake House just outside of Ogallala. I needed badly to consume hot foods, to relieve wastes, to wash up, and mostly to walk on actual ground for at least 50 feet. As it turned out, Castle's, which was real, though is currently in diner nirvana, had much more than that to avail. I entered dazedly through the vestibule to a long, narrow hallway lined with what seemed like hundreds of pamphlets in racks, mostly of the dinosaur egg and mystery spot variety. At the end, which I approached with somewhat of a Hitchcock dolly zoom, was a counter with a smiling hostess standing beneath a pair of saw blade paintings, and possibly a bit of taxidermy as well. It was my first time coming across that particular medium, these being a couple of mountain landscapes portrayed on an extra large, circular, and an even bigger tree saw blade, because, of course. I asked for non-smoking and was led to a huge spare dining room in which I was the only patron and was left to my own devices, and a menu as large and entertaining as a farmer's almanac. Well, almost. As I scribbled in my notebook at the time, which is still, yes, in my possession, in, I might add, meter and rhyme. Here's a quote from I wrote that night. Looking at the menu, for there between the soup du jour and salad greens, or turkey club and ham on rye, or ham or steak and eggs, one finds the history of sausage or the industry of pork, or poems on food and God and cheer, more poignant than a fork. I even wrote one of them down, and yes, here it is. Country kitchen. A gentle evening breeze, curtains wafting wispy white, and crusty loaves of bread grace our evening meal tonight, on checkered tablecloth, all set with willow ware. O God, who art in heaven, how we thank thee for this fare. And this takes me to my point, because whatever you think of that poem from that menu, whatever you think of it, like it, what or not, somebody loved writing that and very likely experienced exactly the same uplift, the same joy that anyone does in creating anything at any level of art and expertise. This is sort of in a middle of discussion on, what comes out of creative process. And that's important. I don't think I understood that at the time. More poignant than a fork, but I'm glad I figured it out since, because the act of making something, that's the frontal cortex at work, should always be honored, regardless of what impossible standard anyone might hold to it. And yes, there's a whole conversation to be had about inspiration versus craft and intention versus discovery, but if you come across someone who is clearly happy to have made something, and if you want to live in a more positive world, you can choose to be genuinely happy with them or for them, even for a moment, even if they're not present. And since things that people have made with joy can appear seemingly out of nowhere and take unexpected forms, to say the least, I would most heartily prevail upon you to keep this in mind as you move through your days. And so as to not leave you or me swimming in that menu in 1987, I should segue by mentioning that the waitress did finally arrive, and I found myself turning to face her knees and had to crane my neck to ascertain that she was, in fact, indeed, and in life, very close to 7 feet tall. I wonder where she is today. That's my piece.
Just from wherever you are, Richard, if you just look up, I'm sure you'll see her.
I know. Anyway, sometimes
Have I told you about my book called Making Love to the 50-Foot Woman?
Oh, dear God.
Look it up. It's a
We're
real
going to have
thing.
a private about that. Yeah.
Thank you for that poem, science lesson, tale
Prosy thing. Yeah.
of monsters, etc. Thank you so much, and I'm sure you will continue to bring us poetry, whether you've written it or not, in the coming weeks, as it goes. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Richard Loringer. On deck is Julian Matthews. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Rick. How are you doing? First of all, let me say that the youngster, the 3-year-old picture, I was going to college in my freshman year when that was taken. So now you know how old I am. Anyhow, recently, actually 2 days ago, I put out a book called Etc. And basically, considering that all my other books have very serious content, including the last one, which is 83 Poets, including some of whom are present tonight, talking about the Trump administration. The 2 poems that I'm choosing to read from this book, this is actually lighthearted and almost silly by comparison. So I think I'll enjoy the silly while I can. I'm going to give you 2 poems. This is the first one. I am continually amazed at how Jurassic Park movies keep coming out. I thought the first one was, the point of it was never put humans and dinosaurs in the same place at the same time. But obviously, that wasn't the point. This is called When Will They Ever Learn? The first time to begin, they welcomed us in to Jurassic Park. The second time, despite peril, we got lost in the lost world of Jurassic Park. The third time, could it be that they made number 3, Jurassic Park? The fourth time, the world returned. Oh, will they ever learn of Jurassic Park? The fifth time, the kingdom fell, and it was just as well for Jurassic Park. And now the park, world, and kingdom have become Jurassic World Dominion. You'd think that the 6th time would at last be the charm, where we'd finally find out, after even more harm, why dinosaurs and humans never live in true communion in any Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Jurassic Kingdom, or even Dominion. But no. Now there's a new birth with the same unlearned lessons as the first. An idea that was hatched in the same damn hatchery that gave birth to all Jurassic insanity. As if it were a dearth, is now Jurassic rebirth. And the second poem is, I had a lot of fun, by the way. You know what? I think I'll read this one instead of going to the other. No, I'll read the other one. All right. This is called The Test Pattern. No, it isn't. Here it is. Yeah, it is called The Test Pattern. All right. Do the flickering images of shock and awe play well in Pleasantville as Donna Reed? Does Rodney King bleed less when police batons land squarely on his head again and again and again? Was Senator Joseph McCarthy more photogenic than Charlie McCarthy or Paul McCartney? Who's the bigger jackass? Johnny Knoxville for taking it in the balls, or me for watching it? Who has the bigger boobs? Janet Jackson or Hollywood Squares? Or both? Did the bombs that fell over lush green jungles in Vietnam really plop, plop, then fizz, fizz? Which maxi pad really protects me from the ravages of AIDS? Who should really be our king? Rodney, Martin Luther, Billie Jean, or Elvis? Is it safe to surf on TV's turf on SpongeBob SquarePants? Or should I just deploy on the couch and enjoy the test pattern? Thank you.
Fun, Christopher. Congrats on allowing yourself to delve into the work that's in etc. As important as the silence is consent work is, it's also important for us to maintain our voices and enjoy ourselves as best we can. So glad you put that out. Let us know how your trials with maxi pads go. We're looking forward to a follow-up on that. And if you'd like, post a link to the book in the chat as well so people can check it out if it's available. Thank you so much, Christopher. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. On deck, Cheryl Latif. Please welcome now Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian.
Hi. Just the one poem which I'm sharing right now. Parenthood is not a tree awaiting the axe. Gibran says, your children are not your children. What would he know? He never had any. When your 3-month-old baby can barely breathe from a 3-night flu, her button nose all stuffed up, and you lean over and suck the phlegm out of it. That's something only a mother would do. When I told my son I was coming to pick him up for his birthday, but actually have him taken by ambulance to rehab as a last resort intervention. That's something only a father would do. The word codependency is bandied about by therapists like a guilt trip we never paid for. As if we lost the contest of wills, the finishing line, a moving target, the prize, all their current adult anxieties. Family therapy is an oxymoron. Please don't ask my wife whether she had a difficult delivery as the source of all this trauma. By your definition, all of us were traumatized in that room. Isn't the flip side of prolonged labor the calm and joy of their suckling at a breast after? Every parent never wants their children to crash and burn. They falter, yes. We encourage them to pick themselves up, dust off, get back on the swing and ride the wind again. They fall, we fall. They rise on their own, we cheer. You tell me to trust the process. But the process is how we arrived here anyway, trusting our own instincts and praying like mad. You don't think we know that it's a journey, not a destination? We've been in it for the long haul from day one. Yes, Parenting 101 was a class we never attended, yet you speak as if we were too soft, that we misunderstood the word love and tough love. You don't know our children like we do. You never will. Love toughens us, but it can't be dispensed as a cure-all. Point me to a family tree that doesn't have a bent branch. My children are adults now, curving through their own forest. Yet they are still ours, not yours. We accept them unconditionally. We were their therapist, counselor, social platform influencer, co-conspirator, sounding board, long before you were. Parenthood isn't a tree awaiting the axe. We never mistake the handle for the blade. Yet we hold our ground and steel ourselves to let go, and it hurts. Like hell. You will never know how much. Unless you've held them close enough to your chest so they can hear the rhythm and the pounding, the pulse of your heartbeat in sync with theirs, asleep and at peace, cradled in your arms. Yes, we are the bow that never breaks, and also the bow that bends of Gibran. But they are not arrows to be projected swift and far, but beating hearts after our own, always near, always close, always right here. Thank you.
Julian, thank you so much for that piece. Here's to the journey over the destination. Thank you so much for being here. A round of applause for Julian Matthews. Well done as always. On deck, Jeffrey Bryant. Please welcome now Cheryl Latif. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello. It's nice to be here with everyone again. It's been much too long, but I'm glad I made it. I have one poem this evening. It is a new poem, and it is not titled as yet. Half moon rises over glistening sea. Embedded reflections of joy emanate, birth, renewal, and hope. Disperse cellular equations of universal acceptance, paving a better tomorrow to be embraced, to be shared, to be known, shore to shore. Between yesterday and today, you discover creation, cremation, shadows in the sun, truth born in the space of dreams, sought to maintain moments of unyielding momentum. In the depths of denial, depraved indifference finds you searching all that's hidden. Dream shadows, a cappella wishes, echo beyond senses, drape embedded reflections of a glistening sea. Thank you.
Cheryl, thank you. Just the one poem, just to confirm?
Yes.
Okay. One poem from you is fantastic since we've heard no poems from you recently. I know you've been through a lot, and I can't tell you how relieved and delighted that to be able to see you back in this space, feeling better, getting a little bit better every day. I know you've still got a journey to go on, but we're here for you, and we're glad that you're back with us.
Thank you so much.
Cool. All right. Welcome back, and thank you so much, Cheryl Latif. Round of applause for Cheryl. On deck is Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome now Jeffrey Bryant. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi, everybody. And yes, it's wonderful to hear your voice again, Cheryl. I thought I would read some queer poetry that is not written by me. I'm celebrating Pride Month, and so I'm going to read two poems. One is from Frank O'Hara's Lunch Poems. This is called Poem. Lana Turner has collapsed. I was trotting along and suddenly it started raining and snowing, and you said it was hailing, but hailing hits you on the head hard. So it was really snowing and raining, and I was in such a hurry to meet you, but the traffic was acting exactly like the sky, and suddenly I see a headline. Lana Turner has collapsed. There is no snow in Hollywood. There is no rain in California. I've been to lots of parties and acted pretty perfectly disgraceful, but I never actually collapsed. Oh, Lana Turner, we love you. Get up. The second poem is by Adrienne Rich. It's called What Kind of Times Are These from 1991. There's a place between two strands of trees where the grass grows uphill, and the old Revolutionary Road breaks off into shadows near a meeting house abandoned by the persecuted who disappeared into those shadows. I've walked there picking mushrooms at the edge of dread, but don't be fooled. This isn't a Russian poem. This is not somewhere else, but here, our country, moving closer to its own truth and dread, its own ways of making people disappear. I won't tell you where the place is, the dark mesh of the woods meeting the unmarked strip of light, ghost-ridden crossroads, leaf mold paradise. I know already who wants to buy it, sell it, and make it disappear. And I won't tell you where it is, so why do I tell you anything? Because you still listen. Because in times like these, to have you listen at all, it's necessary to talk about trees. Thank you.
Wow, I love both of those pieces, Jeffrey. Thanks for using your time to give us the work of other folks. The Frank O'Hara poem, I remember hearing Brendan Constantine read that 25, 30 years ago at a Valley Contemporary Poets event, an in-person event, early on when I first met him, and really that poem just stuck with me for a long time. And then he, in turn, wrote a poem in that style, which begins, Anna Nicole Smith's boobs explode. Which is well worth, I don't know, I just looked, I couldn't find it online anywhere, but it's a very old poem from him. But so thank you for reminding me of that. Frank O'Hara is fantastic. When you introduce it, like it's Frank O'Hara's poem called Poem, that could be describing 600 of his poems, of course. But great to hear it again. Thank you so much, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Round of
Happy
applause.
Pride.
Yeah. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. On deck, Valeria Lopez Robles. Please welcome now Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey. So yesterday was the anniversary of my surviving getting hit by a car, and I had written about that in a poem. I had also written about losing vision, which happened to me around the same time. So my two poems are kind of about how there's possibly magic in my poetry. And so the first one is the getting hit by a car poem that I wrote a few years ago before that actually happened, because I like joking about death. It's called Eulogy. We are gathered here to honor the life of Jen. Let me stop you, because I don't want people talking about my life or what they presume to be my life when they're spewing cliches and platitudes. Talk about my death and how I was murdered one night walking home from the bus stop alone. Say what everyone is thinking, that I shouldn't have been so reckless, that I should have just stayed home alone and not gone out risking my life so I could live life. Or maybe I was hit by a car because the driver, like you, didn't think a young woman should walk alone late at night and didn't think to check the sidewalk for a person crossing the street in the dark. Maybe I was driving too, even though I didn't want to, but it was that or Uber since the train stopped running and my inexperience and anxiety made me swerve at a nocturnal creature. Please don't blame the animal for my death. Maybe I chose the rideshare and paid with my life, murdered not by the stranger on the street, but the stranger behind the wheel, with whom I entrusted my well-being, because the app said he was all good. Or maybe I heard your concerns about needless risks, yet what I needed was some form of connection, an escape from the tomb my mind was creating for me inside my home. But you were unavailable, like everyone, every night. Without a ride, an invite, a way out of my misery, I decided to be my own killer. So talk about my death, because I didn't have a life. And so the second piece is titled, I wrote about getting hit by a car and it happened, so I'm going to try something. New glasses, new snowboarding boots, more snowboarding trips, more trips in general. an aerial hoop and rig, a house where I can set up the rig and foster cats and have more bookshelves that's not far from work, studios, and readings, or better public transportation, $1 million, or however much is needed to be a full-time poet and sometime performer and cat rescuer, a particular acceptance letter, more friends who are into poetry or action sports, more drag and burlesque gigs, produced by people who aren't problematic, fewer problematic people in positions of power, fewer cops, universal health care, including gender-affirming care for all, trans rights in general, disability rights, reproductive rights, reparation, recognition of Taiwanese independence, a free Palestine and a free Congo and a free Sudan, the end of mass incarceration, the end of deforestation, the end of fascism, the end of capitalism. This poem will not end, and I am so very exhausted.
It's a great way to end a poem, saying that it's not going to end. We're like, wait, what is it still? Nice one, Jennifer. I too dream of being a full-time cat rescuer, so perhaps we can pull our resources and maybe we'll, we can get a grant. I don't know how it's going to work, but it feels like something we should look into. Great work tonight. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer. Elise Wang on deck. Carrie Cox, please welcome now Valeria Lopez Robles. Hello, Valeria.
Hi, I'm super excited to be here. I am new to this type of space, but not to my love for poetry. I'm sorry, let me see if I can move a little bit more so it's like less noise. So also, pardon if I'm not on theme, but my poem is about my unfortunate experience in love. And I use religious undertones because I think you truly witness devotion in religion and in love. So here's my poem. It didn't take long for us to succumb to this emotion. You said I love you first, and I responded with devotion. Yet I await for the peace to end and the storm to pick up because I'm so scared of what'll happen if we ever break up. But in this moment, it's just you and me and us. It's just all these stolen kisses. It's just all this blinding trust. And now we're both whimpering as you're breathing in my skin. Touch me like I'm sacred. Leave me like I'm sin. I keep the bed warm while your face lit with TV glow. Maybe after the first month, it's normal for things to slow. And sometimes I come home to an argument and not open arms. But you know that I'm still a sucker for your charms. Some days you whisper, some days you yell. I can't seem to move, I'm under your spell. Maybe this is how things go. I mean, you did promise to commit. Of this drug we call love, I need another hit. Hope in my heart, resignation in my soul, but still I carried the weight of my pain untold. I couldn't distinguish between violence and veneration. You couldn't distinguish between hating and adoration. Every day in passing, something weakened our foundation. Do you remember hiding bottles of liquors and punching through the drywall on the door, making me sleep with my eyes open as this was a nightly encore? Or breaking my glasses and cutting up my clothes and never celebrating my birthdays or anniversaries? When was the last time you gave me a rose? But you knew I'd never walk away, though my arms became cold and my temper became hot, with an open hand made of iron, turning me into a person I was not. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm still in love with you. Or however the saying goes. It didn't matter to you whether I stayed or you left, how you ripped my clothes down, my heart out, your manipulations so deft. But still, I remained like a ghost long forgotten, made me feel unconsubstantial, made, not begotten. Therapist 1, therapist 2, the days go by, but I'm still stuck on you. Molded to your liking, made myself small, kept quiet when you asked me, guess you didn't like my voice at all. You were quick to leave, I was slow to let go. Was I hard to love? Did I not give you a good enough show? Keys on the table, no louder goodbye. This place was never a home. Couldn't you have stayed just one more night? Oh, I nearly forgot, a harmless little thing. While you were out and about, steady lying through your teeth, saying you were single, hoping you'd never come back to me. He looked at me with passion, longing in his eyes, something I had been missing as you were driving me to my demise. So this is my confession. Again and again I caved in. But good Lord, please forgive me. He made me love my skin. Did I love you? Yes, always and forever without falter. But I mistook devotion for desire and burned at both altars.
Valeria, really cool. Glad to have you in this space for the first time. Welcome. Let me ask you to unmute one more and ask, where are you reading to us from?
Oh, I am outside. There's this poetry like slam thing going on, so I was like waiting in line.
No, I mean like what part of the world? Sorry, you gotta. We don't. You gotta.
I'm so sorry. Yes, I am in Los Angeles, California.
Very cool. Are you at what's the name of the venue? It's that you're at.
It's the Poetry Lounge.
The Poetry Lounge. Yeah, it's been going on in LA on Tuesday nights for decades, right? Yeah, historic, cool space. Which I've never been able to go to because I host this reading and have for a really long time. But I'm glad that you ducked out to be with us, and I hope you come back and read again.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. All right. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Valeria Lopez Robles, reading to us live from another poetry reading. Haha, take that, to Poetry Lounge. Cool historic place. You should definitely go check it out, by the way, if you're in LA on a Tuesday night and not here with us. All right. On deck, Dig Wayne. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I won't ask how you are, Rick, because Shauna stole that joke already. Wasn't really a joke. It's just become a joke. But I have two poems tonight. The first one was probably unintentionally inspired by Julian because he posted a thing about nuns, and I think the headline said none better, but I thought it said none butter, like nuns and butter, and I thought that was a cool title. So my poem is called None Butter. Jesus tastes good on bread with jelly jam licking off the lips, the sticky way he says he loves me, loves all the content he created, even the mistakes, the flubs, the kids with cancer, praying he might listen to their love letters to growing up, growing older, driving a car. His disciples rifle through his lack of belongings, counting how many nails it takes to hold a human to a piece of wood. They crab walk, scurrying for alibis when the night turns peach rust, syncopated tones like a desert sky, like a sky desert reaching its hot fingers into rain spouts, blowing, blaring, blushing the dust out. I taste good when I'm beloved. No more bitter tears to taunt my holy hypnotist hips as I shimmy and dip, mocking anyone merry enough to meet me in this heady, steamed up dream of snakes in paradise, bees bleeding honey gold, promises of a life sweetened, of chambers hushed, of Old Testaments to new lovers, passed down in secret, locks of hair, old keys, a telegram from the tantalizing times when words cost more than speaking. And then I'm going to read a second one, and I'm calling it Foolishness, mainly because I wrote it on April 1st. So there you go. I'm not digging a new way to China so you don't have to walk in the beating sun, a perilous pretense I have no defense against, a rushing rush to free the blush from the skin. Everywhere the color swims, the surface thins, the crescent skims, the sky tonight. I am not peaceful when I think of how hard I love. I am not heavenly in my body, not celestial, because my primal need to spread like a seed comes unbidden as greed, as silence of conscience when most in need of a word to stop a dirty deed. Any resistance could extend this existence. We rebirth the circle of a soul's first room, warm, throbbing womb, of eyeball, of molten core, of earth, of pock-marked moon. I'm not ready to let things die, old or young, unless there is something imperfect waiting to be won, peaching our mouths open, newness dripping everywhere, a jungle of fresh meat feeling when there's been no food to share. The wall of the world comes like a roar down the middle of my nightmares, train tracking the parallels of side-by-side doors between our paths, edging and twisting each other. We intersect and switch back, horseshoe turn toward each other, trapped by the technology that trained us to stream ourselves, trickling less fortunate than famous. And I'll call you Lord of Bones and Butterflies, blue at the mouth and dusty like grandmother eyes. Call me your queen and I'll hatchet you home, one tree at a time, a blessing in disguise. Thank you.
Well, it just got real hot in here, Carrie. Thanks for that. Nice. The line "I taste good when I'm beloved" was out of sight. The whole concept of nun butter. I mean, I'm just like wondering, can I get that at Whole Foods? I don't know. We were just at an event on Sunday night that featured make your own butter. So Addie did that, and you had to put some stuff in a little container and then shake it, and it became butter. I didn't get to see how it happened. It felt like magic, and then we used the butter that she made on food. So, nun butter.
Wow, that
There
is
you go.
magic butter. I like that. I didn't even
Yeah.
have to ask the question, and I got the butter story. I like it.
That's just how we operate these days here in Cobalt Poets. Thank you for being here. Great work tonight. Good to hear it. Thanks so much, Carrie.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Carrie Cox. On deck, we've got 2 poets left, and then I'm going to close out the open reading after that. So Trevor Watkin, you're on deck. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. 2 things. John Dorroh, a wonderful feature. Bob Dorroh. Google Bob Dorroh. Listen to his voice. He was a jazz singer. Listen to his voice. Bob Dorroh. It's just amazing, the similarities. And Julian Matthews, I just want to be a little contrary to you said a mother sucking the mucus out of a baby's nose is something a mother does. I did that to both my kids when they had very, very bad colds and they were congested. I put my mouth on both their noses and I sucked the snot out of their noses, just so you know what love will make you do. Rick, you didn't do that? You have a really sad look on your face like he didn't do that to Jude? Oh man, he's going to have problems later in life. Anyway, I'm going to read a poem by Bob Kaufman. This is his 100th birthday was in April. So this is called Voyagers. Hang in there. Black leather angels of pop bopping stallions searching in the corners of peace for violence that exists deep in their own sexless breast, creeping away into highland dark to find spark-born oblivion among the debris of wrecked motorcycles, strips of torn metal eagles hanging from frames, of good life daddies transporting children's remains to worn-out art corners concealed among the announcements of poetry sessions, filtering through jazz readings, seeking a lost intestine removed by good daddy doctor, the day they were paroled from their mama's belly, death's billboard painters making gigantic caricatures of life, minute sounds of belching in the backyards of silence, betrayed into shouting, spotlighting their hiding places, revealing cherished murders to uncaring, nonchalant policemen too busy bird watching, squares of concrete to notice the public bleedings on 4 o'clock street corners, flowing on the shadow-tread streets in shoulder-bumping walk time, the garrulous street lamps report rattlings to each other's splintered wood poems printed on the lost noise of dead traffic. The aging forest is burning itself, phoenix-like reborn. The bush and trees of glass, silhouette crispy burning stars, the green glass body of phantom women composed of airs of night presses me deeply, crying between ruby quartz thighs, neon sperm glows at the tip, my poem spurting at the thrust into tomorrow. Twice maimed shrews ailing in elongated slots of public splendor, engulfed in luxurious dogs, sniffing curiously among alcohol asylums, populated by oversexed, poverty-stricken brainstorms, puberty-stunned explosions, raging in and out of insane comas, spouting word fountains at the shriveled mouths of wildly depraved roses, as Cassandra dances on the singed eyelids of sleepless ants, flapping plaid tongues poked from dying normally faces, poised to scoop out the dirt-filled navels of whores and poets, concealed inside unexploded bodies of defective firecrackers, dreaming secretly of blowing up in the face of time. Be aware of being aware of being aware of the day the sky cracked up, raining private rain inside the heads of circling cats, snapping brittle vertebrae, kicking the reality drag. God, you are a big black pot full of torn handkerchiefs mixed with secondhand definitions, muted explosions and unbowed plastic heads of psychotic chessmen illuminate illusions held by faint flowing hands, holding cut glass bowls of trapped eyes, sprawled among wispy pot smoking ceilings of superimposed accusations, punctuated by hooked coughing of watery clowns, consecrated idiots, sleepy-eyed Christ, aborted Marys, cynical jazz blasted from the neon intestines, electrically had by departed saxophone maniacs, noisily, artfully contrived screams, priceless souls trapped on thin anonymous disc of eroded wax, continuous shrieks spearing through marble skin, ear-shaped antenna of aesthetic soaked pincushions, springfoot lepers, frozen in flight, cling to shallow, bold spoons, twisting in desperately clawed caves, holding pinkish moisture dripped by parched, secret needle-sucking mouths, brooding on stone cliffs of tarnished arms, overlooking, underlooking, inner-looking, hysterically conceived combinations of eyes and mother genitals, auto-sculpt into ecstatic images of long-loved, cherished pain, digging among reddened, lip-stained cups of leftover sadness, hopelessly hoping, hopefully, to find love of a dead moon or a poem. Thank you. Bob Kaufman. Bob Kaufman, everybody. Bob Kaufman. Let's hear it for Bob Kaufman. Bob fucking Kaufman. Fucking Bob Kaufman. Bob fucking Kaufman.
I think that outro counts as another poem.
Fucking Bob Kaufman.
It's still going. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right.
Good piece, Dig. Thank you for bringing that to us. That was stellar. Yeah, I've never sucked phlegm out of my son's nose. And then very quickly, Carrie mentioned, I think it was Carrie in the chat, that they make little devices where you could just do that and you don't have to like get another person's phlegm in your mouth.
Yeah, a little ball. Yeah, a little ball, and you put up there, and it's like a little sucking ball. But if you don't have one of those, and the baby can't breathe, and it's 11 o'clock at night or it's 12 o'clock at night, man, you can't go get a little sucking ball. You just got to get down there and suck that snot out and spit it out. It's a baby, but it's not poison. It's your baby.
Sure, that's.
My wife didn't want to do it. I said, I'll do it. I did it. I volunteered.
You just jumped right in. You were like, I'm doing this.
I'm doing it. I want this kid to breathe. So Julian, just know I stepped up.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's ironically, that's how I lost my first 4 kids. But I'm kidding. But well, thank you for putting that on our radar. I think we had a bulb. I think that's how it worked in our house. I think we got a bulb in advance just so we wouldn't, just to be safe. But maybe, not everyone has bulb money back in the day.
That's true.
So
it's a luxury. It's a first world device.
Yeah. All right, Dig. Well, you put some important things on my radar today, and I really appreciate that, especially the Bob Kaufman poem. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for listening for so long.
Round of applause for Dig Wayne. He'll suck the snot out of your nose if you make an appointment with him. I'm on deck to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Trevor Watkin. Hello, Trevor.
Hello. I just have one. It's pretty short. It's called You, Me, and the Night Storms. We took the trail past the orchard, past brittle bones clawing where apples once fell heavy, and foxglove waited under musky husk. The sky was full of something half divine, a thunderhead that knew us by our names. You said, the storm remembers. It's mine. I laughed, but every echo stoked the flames. The woods held fast their breath, and in between the lightning's teeth, we saw ourselves anew. Not lovers, not the myths we once had been, beasts who'd shared the long, unsheltered view. I thought you'd hold my hand. You lit a smoke. The thunder preached its sermon through the trees. The air smelled like a prayer, or maybe something broke, a silence, bruised by lack, by disease. The wind unbuttoned all the seams of your voice, hoarse with hunger. We kissed like thieves, as if the sky could keep a secret, sworn in mud and silhouettes. So here's the tale I sometimes whisper to the rain. Two strangers made of marrow, spit, and storm once found a night too painful for pain, so they let their shadows feast upon their form. Thank you.
Trevor, great piece. I really like the line, as if the sky could keep a secret. That got me thinking about all kinds of things. And has it been watching me this whole time? What has it told other people that I didn't want anyone else to know? I'll be walking around with an umbrella in all situations going forward. Thank you for sharing that, and welcome to this space. Where are you reading to us from?
I'm actually reading downstairs from one of the other people in this reading tonight. I'm actually Bill Gaines' roommate. So
really,
he invited me along tonight, so I thought I'd join.
That's cool. Soon we're going to get the whole building in the reading. I think that's the dream. Anyway, well, please come back and read some more for us. I'm glad Bill got you here, and now you have to come back because we
Sure.
know where you live.
Yeah, right.
Or at least the sky will tell me if I need the address. Trevor, thanks so much for being here. A round of applause for Trevor Watkin.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to close out the open reading with two poems. You may have seen I announced earlier today in the various channels I have available to me that my next book, High Moose Alert, is on its way out into the world. It's all poems I wrote last summer when Addie and I were lucky enough to visit Vancouver, Alaska, various places in Alaska, and the Canadian Yukon. Really excited about it, and you can pre-order it now. This is a poem that's early on in this book. If you're familiar at all with my travel poetry books, a lot of them begin with a poem about dropping our kid off at camp, which is the time that we usually use when he's there to go off on these trips. This is called All of This is Normal. I want to tell you we dropped our kid off at camp today, but the truth is he was driving the car. We experienced it, the double whammy of our boy who used to be a toddler with cheeks from here to eternity, operating a motor vehicle on the freeways of Los Angeles, on his way to 8 weeks away, maybe 9, I can't bear to look at the calendar. Speaking of bears, we're going to Alaska where we hope to see one. Alaska has made no promises. Someday we won't be in the car when he drives from place to place. Someday he won't even live in our house. None of this is normal. That's the first one, and half of that has come true. The kid has his driver's license these days and is already driving around from place to place without us. And this is the first year we don't need to take him to camp because he will be driving himself and coming back every weekend. So I don't know what the hell I'm going to write at the beginning of this next book that's not even out yet because I haven't written it because I'm focusing on this book that I wrote last summer. Anyway, that's from the book High Moose Alert, which you can pre-order now. There you go. There's a link to it in the chat. I'm going to read one other poem. This poem was written in response to this week's Torah portion and responds to this line of text. When Moses would come into the tent of meeting so God could speak with him, he would hear the voice speaking to itself, issuing from between the two angels above the covering that was over the ark of the testimony, and he would speak to him. This poem is called It's Already. It's already happening. It started millennia ago. It's a perpetual dream of information and direction. It's the guidance you've been seeking. It has always been there. It's these words and others you're straining to hear. It's a book of numbers. It's inside your accounts. It's with a capital I. You're looking too hard. It's in the obvious places. It's telling you what to do. It's telling you what not to do. It's the user manual you need. It's in the language you speak. This familiar voice, this stream of sound already on when you entered the room, this innate language, this lesson, the source is already talking. You just need to listen. All right, there you go, people. Thank you all for being here. Great night. I especially want to thank our featured reader, John Dorroh, for being here from Highland, Illinois. He told us where he lives. We can all just head there now. Great reading. There's the stuff I pasted earlier in the chat. You can tip John for his reading via PayPal at the PayPal ID that's right there. You can download the broadside for John's poem at the Cobalt Poets website at the next link that I just pasted. When you're there, click on calendar and you can see who's coming up in the future weeks. As I mentioned earlier, Preeti Vangani will be here next week, in addition, of course, to our open reading. Also on the Cobalt Poets website, if you're new and you only get news of the reading from your neighbor upstairs, you can click on email and add yourself to our email list if you would like, and you'll get an email on Sunday and Tuesday with the Zoom link and all of that, letting you know what's going on. And I think that's everything that's available to you on the Cobalt Poets website. Finally, check out John's most recent book, Personal Ad Poetry, on Amazon there. You can also get it from Alien Buddha Press. Great reading tonight. Again, thanks for our stellar roster of open readers, for our new people, our returning people, and all the people who never left. Clicking on Ask All to unmute, so feel free.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah,
Good
me
night.
too.
Thanks, Rick.
You know, yeah.
Work tonight, everybody.
Good
Thank
morning,
you, John.
Chris.
That was a great feature. Really good
Thank
work
you.
tonight.
Thank you so
I
much.
really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, I'm going to remember none butter.
Hats
was
into Julian.
So Rick, I remember seeing a video that Addie made of your son pulling out of your driveway, driving when he was learning how to drive. It was amazing because it took him so long to back out, and he was in the street, and you're waiting, and then eventually he kind of took off. I was thinking, wow, that's the guy you don't want to get stuck behind, It's like, get out of the way.
Not
so now
that
he's
day.
advanced to he's advanced to the freeways. I presume.
Yeah, no, he backs up with confidence now, and is not only is a good driver, but well aware of those kinds of annoyances himself. So he is not likely going to be the person you're worried about being stuck behind, or who's going to tailgate you or something like that.
Well, luckily, hopefully he understands which lane to be in, because that's the problem when people, I don't care if someone's going slow, but when they're in the inside lane, that's what kills me. It's like, dude, you're in the wrong lane. I see a guy going 45 on the freeway in the fast lane, and you pass him and look, and